Mercury, Hermes to me, messenger of God Almighty.
What need have we of a flitting, flickering breeze of a girlish boy to attend and deliver those messages, too rich and ephemeral for mortal ears to hear?
That's just it. The flit, flit, flit of one whose work will never be quit. For the tongues change as the days change, so too the tools and the spools of yarn to tie a bow around a fable. Let us be able, the mind must be watched. For what is Mercury if not mind? How do you think? What mechanics run your mental miasma? What mind-forged manacles hold our new century in shackles? Flit, flit. It is oh so quick. Mercurius, he or she, the androgyne, darts to and fro. It sets the nerves on edge. It is our very nervous system incarnate. The brave little one, dancing so close to our father's sun, never straying too far. Give, 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 take, 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 the lord of copper and all coinage, tithing and conniving, the neutrality tinged with hue of fiendy foes, or the mellow genius. Marvellous gift the mind is, to discern, interpret, calculate, litigate and placate. And then those glamorous fools who use it for music and perceiving the divine, who gift it back as sweetly as songbirds, who are piecing it all together through lyric and strong words, tricky trap of universal hilarity, mirroring, gleeful, the pitfalls of humanity, human errors, as we stumble and learn, taking turns to be humble and bumble through digital dilemmas of the soul, tracking this route towards whole, as the heart yearns, Mercury unfurling life as a fern, seeing patterns, pretty patterns, lighting lanterns as it flits through the details loosely harnessed, and on course this worthy servant wants no more nor less than to play, investigate, and convey. Come with me and serve yourself heartily.
Hello there, welcome back to the Ineffableelse. Welcome to the next in our series about Mercury. Today we will be exploring Mercury in one of its home signs of Virgo. Really nice place for Mercury to be. But this will also apply to you if you have Virgo in the 6th house. So do look at which house your Mercury falls in and find the complementary video which might help add another layer of context to understanding how your Mercury functions within your psyche. So very easy to talk about this because this is talking about Mercury itself. I have a longer introductory video talking about what Mercury is within our consciousness and how it functions, and it tends to lean in a more Gemini or a more Virgo way, which is quite different. One is much more playful, trickster, manipulative, devil's advocate. The other being much more grounded, needing reality, needing things to be analysed, to be understood, focusing on the details of problems to find the best solution. And the reason that Mercury is so happy here in Virgo is because this is very small, just as Mercury is so small. Just as Hermes is this tiny messenger of God, so does Virgo work in this squirreling way in terms of acquiring the information that it needs, sorting through it, organising it, cataloguing it, and making everything very, very neat and tidy and organised in order that you can best serve. This is a place of service. As we move into the 6th house, we're really talking about something which is more than personal, more than just you. It's the information that you receive is very much there to help serve the collective, but in the most minute way. It's the devil is in the detail, and you know that, and you'll understand that. And it means that your mind can actually function, which many minds can't. Many minds in in terms of human consciousness are very, very flawed and very lost. And so too could yours be if you let it rule your life. It's a tool. So you really do need to make sure that you see your brilliant mind as a tool, no matter how great it actually appears to be. It still doesn't have the same access to everything happening down in the body, everything happening which can't be analysed and can't be dissected. Not everything is of that ilk. So it's good to remain open, because sometimes we can make too many assumptions and we are down a scientific path, yes, but the basis of our investigation is flawed. We haven't asked some fundamental big picture questions at the start, and instead we've allowed ourselves to go down a track. It can be very frustrating in terms of study, of academia. Maybe you have dedicated a lot of your life, a lot of your time to something that you later felt perhaps had no validity, but don't ever feel like you've wasted time. Although Virgo can have that time pressure within it, know that you were developing faculties within your consciousness, within your toolbox, different tools that you can use to assist you later in life in many different areas. So all is not lost, but it is good to question things. Virgo can get a bit stuck in ideas and needing some kind of grounding. I sometimes think of Virgo as a bit like quicksand, because it's so much earth heading out in all different directions, wanting to help everyone, wanting to resolve everything and put a lid on something, put something in a box, and it can't always be done like that. And to be a successful mercurial fellow, to be Hermes, is to just be receptive to understanding, and then be able to analyze, be able to dissect, but always keep impartial. Keep yourself away from sticking to any particular idea just because it feels comfortable. You'll go very far as long as you don't engender any particular belief, and instead you see beliefs and thought forms as tools themselves to help you get to a cleaner and more peaceful outcome, which is the ultimate goal. I think it's good to set goals and stick to goals and make your day-to-day lists, which you'll be brilliant at, but then to always keep an umbrella theme over everything about why am I doing this? Who am I doing it for? You can end up being your mind can be in service to you, but it can also be in service to something else. And sometimes you're so good at what you do, you've not ever questioned who you're doing it for, who benefits in the long term, and see how you really feel about that on a deeper level. Question it. It can be tricky to question too much with this placement, because you have that faculty for fault finding, and it can be horrible when you constantly see the flaws in everything, because everything is fatally flawed, because we are just creation trying to create other things. So anything human made is fatally flawed, and this is the mechanism you have for fault finding in a fantastic sense, and to get that key, to get that balance. And I like it when it's in collaboration with Sagittarian energy, when you can have that big picture and then small picture, macrocosm, microcosm, to come around to an understanding of the whole. And if you do have your Virgo Mercury, then your sun will also be either in Virgo or possibly in Leo or Libra. When it's in Libra, it's a similar type of energy. It can be very people-pleasing. It can be very caught up in trying to find that one-size-fits-all, that big, one complete solution. And with the sun in Leo, it can be an almost internal battle between something very, very good at analysing and going small into tiny details, and another part of you which just wants to shine and beam out. It can be great to have that combination, because the two things are balanced, the fire and the earth. But it's interesting to see which internal judgments you have against different parts of your consciousness, and this can be judgmental with a Mercury in this place. There's a really beautiful thing about this placement, which is to do with logic. It's an incredibly logical position for Mercury, and it's a lovely time to look at nature and to observe nature and observe what needs to happen. What is your environment? Where do you find yourself in? Mercury is very diverse. It can manifest itself in absolutely every corner of society, whether you're a scientist or a drug trafficker or a fashionista. It's going to be, it is going to bring out the best in you in whichever thing you pursue. But ultimately, Virgo is earth. So to come back to the natural cycles of the earth, the rhythms of the earth, and what would a natural Virgo do? A natural Mercury would be preparing for the winter, preparing for the darker months, and that fault finding comes as a lifesaver instead of just finding the fault in someone's designer shoes. You can actually see the fatal flaw that we are overlooking in our sunny, shiny Leo disposition, that we've completely missed the fact that 3 months down the line we're not going to have enough food. So it can be that really, really useful component of consciousness that helps us wake up and read the bank statement we've been putting off and have that bravery. I think it's underestimated, the bravery within a Virgo, because they are so willing to go to that kind of difficult place, that dangerous place, that kind of scary place, because they know the outcome would be much worse if it is not minimized in the early stages. It has that sense of logic. And another thing is to bear in mind that not everybody has this, and maybe you get frustrated with others because they don't seem to have their heads screwed on, and you really do. And knowing that other people don't function in this way, that can really help you in terms of your compassion and your understanding of others, and understanding why the algorithm doesn't work, why the statistics, why do humans go against their nature, why do they do things that doesn't fit the pattern. And yeah, you can draw certain comfort from that, knowing that humans are messy and humans don't necessarily fit the pattern that you would expect. With this placement, you're going to be very good at organization, and if any of these things are not ringing true for you, then it's worth seeing if they have ever in your life, and maybe you've turned your back on this way of being because you've identified yourself with somebody else, or you've changed your behavior to fit with somebody else, or a certain addiction or certain behavioral pattern has moved you away from this. And it can actually result in you feeling like, if you have chronic laziness, this is actually an indication of Virgo quality, because you feel the inner pressure, the inner capacity for being organized, being productive, being proactive, and you don't necessarily feel that you can live up to your own self. But I guarantee that you can. And it can sometimes happen with perfectionism, that you are such a perfectionist that you will not allow yourself to try because you don't want to make any mistakes. So you end up not trying, and that's a real tragedy, because you do have a gift to offer, and making mistakes is all part of it. And having that forgiveness of yourself, it's tiring and it's bothersome when you work really hard at something, and then at the end all you see are the flaws, all you see are the room for improvement. So just make sure that you talk to yourself as you would a small child. Don't bully or belittle yourself. Just really maximize the minimum in your case. Really pat yourself on the back when you've done something right, and still allow the room and the space for the duality to exist, in which you can still see your own flaws and see the room for improvement where you can work on. So it's being able to hold both ends and be okay with that, just to be comfortable with that, and that the discomfort that you feel, the tension, is something very, very useful, because it moves and motivates you. It gets you off of your ass and gets you moving. So anything to do with chronic fatigue or tiredness, it can also be a racing mind and too much happening up there, too much of a comprehension of everything. So I would say to definitely slow it right down, meditate, take things one thing at a time, and know that you'll still be faster than most humans because you have that flitting quickness within your own consciousness. It's not just about your mind, but also how you communicate. So you can be a very good communicator because this is a very empathic position where you understand the position of others and where they're coming from. What is your communication style? How do you like to be listened to? When are you most well received? When do you feel like you're not being listened to? When you have a lot of things to offer, a lot to give, and you're simply not being heard. It's important to know that sometimes, as I say, humans are messy and they won't be able to or willing to hear the things that you have to say, your wisdom, your pearls of wisdom. So try not to give your pearls to pigs. I'm not saying all humans are pigs, but they may not realise what they're being offered. So to have the internal process and the knowledge and the wisdom to assess the situation, know what you have drawn from it, keep a diary, don't allow yourself to be swayed and manipulated, keep everything kind of in a centered place for you. Don't give too much, don't share too much, and hold it in terms of when you've reached an understanding. It's weird, you can simultaneously hold it in and let it go. You let go the tension when you've understood something within your family dynamic, your work environment, and try not to allow yourself to get bitter if you're not being heard or listened to. This is just the way the world works, and there is a lot of injustice and tragedies occurring every day, whether that's at the scale of war or in an office environment. So be forgiving, be patient, really work on the patience, allow things to slow down and allow things to clear out, because you are a supercomputer, but you don't need to be running all the time. You can allow yourself to have sleep moments and decharge and go into different brainwave states. It's very important that you spend time in theta and different brain waves and allow time to dissolve, because in the end it will make you more productive anyway, which is what you're probably looking for. So really force yourself to relax and calm down. Learn to relax, learn to be at peace, learn to accept and forgive others. And I think that is everything in something which is cohesive and includes the whole, because there are many different narratives that this can take, many different areas of life you could excel in. You know, if you're really looking for your passion and your vocation in life, this is the tool to be able to do that, and you can really set your minds to anything and check whether what you're currently doing now is just because you're good at it, or it's because it's something that you deeply want within your own self. It's a hard thing to do when you're a very selfless person and living to serve the other, but maybe that is your mission. But there are many ways to serve, and there are many ways to serve without losing yourself completely within that. So if you would like to have a reading with me, please contact me. Visit the website ineffableelse.com and subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it around, watch the other videos within the series. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.